Security guard watching this whole party in a security booth on a camera, right? And he has a joystick and he can actually move the camera to the left and the right and zoom in and zoom out. You know, it's like a little remote control camera. And the dude is watching this little boy drowned.
He's following him with a joystick?
Following him with the joystick. It shows him like zoom in on the hot tub, zoom in on these people drinking some beers. Then it shows him like zoom in on this little boy drowning. And he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't call for help. He doesn't get out of the booth. The little boy drowned to death. Welcome to Cases Gone Wild podcast, brought to you by Marco Law. I'm your host, John Marco, and I've been an attorney for about 2 decades, and I've seen some of the craziest cases gone wild that you will not believe. And we're here to talk about those on my podcast today. And each show, I bring on attorneys to share some of their wildest cases. If you like the show, please be sure to subscribe, write us a positive review so we can make sure that we can get these cases gone wild to just about everybody we can. On today's show, we have a special guest. We have a longtime friend of mine, a great attorney. Issa Haddad is here. Issa is the owner and managing partner of Haddad Law. That's Hadd Law. He is a graduate of Saginaw Valley State. He graduated Cooley in 2008, the same year that I graduated law school, so he's been doing it about the same as me. Issa has a wide variety of practice, man. You do just about everything: criminal, civil, arson cases, all kinds of stuff. So I'm excited to have him here. And I went to college at Aquinas College with Issa's wife, Lena, before I even knew who you were. Right, Issa? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's right, John. My name is Issa Haddad, and I'm an attorney. And I met John, ran into him in court one day. He's like, "Hey, man, you're Lena's husband, aren't you?" And then the stories just went off from there.
Yeah,
and we clicked
she
off.
used to be designated driver when I had big parties at my house.
Yes,
back
she
when
was.
we were a lot more fun, huh?
Oh, man, dude, it's 25 years ago. It's a different game out there partying in college than it is now.
That's right. So Issa, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. What are we going to talk about today? I bet, given you have such a wide, diverse practice, you do so many things, and I even send you cases because I trust you to handle those. What are some of the craziest cases that you can tell us about, maybe recently, that people are just going to say, this is cases gone wild, baby?
Man, there's a lot of cases go wild, and the one I want to talk about today is the hotel case.
Hotel case.
The hotel
All right.
case.
So set the scene for us. What are we talking about? Like a Holiday Inn here, or what?
So this is America's Best Value Inn in Livonia, Michigan.
Okay.
It's a rundown hotel, motel. It's nothing special. Okay. These rooms are really small. And, my clients were just looking for some place to crash so they didn't have to sleep in their semi-truck. And
what are they, like driving like across state or something? Or
So my clients are from New Jersey, and they had a road trip going from New Jersey to California, back to New Jersey.
In a semi-truck?
In a semi-truck with a 53-foot long trailer attached. And they're movers. And so they're picking up and dropping off.
Okay.
And the trucks get loaded in a way that they, at each stop, they got to get unloaded and they take off their certain spots. So they're in Kentucky, and they shoot up to Michigan, to Farmington Hills, Michigan, and they gotta make a stop. They gotta unload somebody's furniture. And so the driver of the semi truck, he drove for like 8 to 10 hours. He was tired. So this is Super Bowl weekend, 2018. Is when this incident happened. And so a few months earlier, my guy was in Michigan by himself without his helper, and he put an ad on Craigslist, and he got this guy to respond. Local guy, came out, good worker, hustler, and just did the job, no questions asked, got paid. He was a good worker. He'd use him again. So come February 2018, Super Bowl weekend, they're making this stop on Saturday. And They hire this guy, and he shows up, and he does a kick-ass job for them. At the end of the day, they're driving a huge semi-truck, and they rented a small U-Haul truck because they can't get the semi-truck into the subdivision. In the apartment complex, they were unloading this furniture. So they got this transport truck to unload the semi-truck into the U-Haul, then the U-Haul into the house.
Okay.
So when they're all done with the job, they ask the new guy, the local guy, to drop off the U-Haul and meet us at the hotel so he can get paid. He figures if he paid him first, he might not take the truck back to the U-Haul. He's only known the guy twice.
Yeah.
And so, the guy's been honest, and he dropped off the U-Haul and meet him at the hotel. They go to the hotel. They check in about 8 o'clock. This guy shows up about a half hour later after he drops off the truck, and he gets paid. He gets paid and he leaves. And my guys, he had him drop off some beer. They're drinking some beer. It's Saturday night. They had a long day at work. They're drinking some beer. 4 o'clock in the morning, they get a phone call from this guy. And the guy says, my girlfriend put me out. Can I crash with you guys?
This is some dude they don't even know except for like...
He hired him once a few months ago and once that Saturday.
That's a little weird. So 4 a.m?
My girl put me out. He goes, dude, you got paid. Get your own hotel room, is what he tells him. All right? So 2 hours later, there's a knock at the door.
Of the hotel room?
Of the hotel room. And, they recognize it's this guy's voice. And like, dude, get out of here. A little bit more colorful language, get out of here. And the dude, they could see in the window that he's there with 2 other dudes. Like something just doesn't jive.
At 4 a.m.
This is at 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
So the call comes in at 4 a.m. The guy shows up at 6 a.m. All right. So, they get woken up and, they're like, you know what? We're up. Let's just get the hell out of here. So they start packing their things. Within 5-10 minutes later, we find out this in hindsight after we get all the police reports and whatnot. This guy leaves the hotel room on the second floor, goes down to the lobby, walks in, asks the clerk for a key to the room.
So he asked the clerk for a key to your client's room, and he's not on the room or anything.
He's not on the room.
Oh, don't tell me they just give this dude the key.
They give this dude the key. Don't even ask his name. Don't ask anything about this guy. It's on video. It was like 45 seconds at the window.
Was the guy in on it at the hotel or what? Like,
at first, that's what we thought, but they picked this hotel randomly.
Okay.
They picked the hotel he's driving a semi truck, so he was looking for a hotel with a bigger parking lot, and he saw that he could park the semi there, and so this was just randomly picked. So at the end, the guy wasn't in on it.
So just some guy being negligent, not being proper security, not doing their job.
This guy works the night shift from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. His shift's almost done. I don't know if he was tired or not, but the guy gives him the key. He's watching Facebook. He's looking at Facebook, gives the guy the key, no questions asked, goes back to watching Facebook. And they got like 19 cameras all over the hotel. None on the front door of the room. Basically the parking lot, 3 angles where the lobby, where the guests come in, a couple cameras behind the lobby where this guy's working. And he's facing the monitors. And these guys get the key. They go back to the car. They walk from the car in the snow to the room. Our guys testify that they're sitting on the bed, like packing the things up. Next thing you know, they hear a beep sound, and this door comes open. It comes open and it stops at the chain. Stops at the chain. There's a second wind and this chain busts.
So they just kicked the door in.
They kicked the door in. They didn't need to kick the door in. They opened the door with a key. They kicked the door to break the chain.
And what'd they do?
They came in and they had guns. They put a gun to each of my clients' heads.
Oh my God.
They said, give us the money. And, a lot of colorful language. One guy was white. One guy was black. And these 3 armed robbers were all black. And they're using all kinds of colorful language. And one of my clients testifies that, the one guy that they knew that they worked with for a few hours that day said, no, it's not going down like it did last time, with a gun in his mouth. freaking out. Like
So
he's
they think
about
they're
to go
gonna
down.
die. They think they're gonna
die. Okay. And they pistol whip these guys. They hit them over the head, and they tie them up with the phone cords. And the older guy, gives him a little bit of a scruffle, and they drag him into the bathroom. They pistol whip him. He's got blood all over his head. He's got a cut on his head from side to side, blood everywhere. This guy didn't go unconscious, but he pretended to go unconscious so they would stop the beating.
This is like out of a movie.
This is out of the movie with Al Pacino and Scarface.
Yeah.
This guy got beat up in the hotel motel bathtub and left for dead.
Remind me not to check into this hotel ever.
America's Best Value Inn.
Oh my God. So what happened? So did the guys lived?
The guys both lived.
Did they arrest these people that beat them up?
They untied themselves, went down to call 911 because they took their money, their phones, their wallets, everything. And they go down, and the clerk that gave the guy the key calls 911 for him and doesn't tell anybody that this guy was in the lobby like 5 minutes earlier when this thing went down. And these guys got away, and they were able to track him down. They were able to, one guy got arrested because they knew who he was. And that was the guy that they worked with earlier. The other two guys
never found. Was the guy convicted criminally?
The guy convicted criminally, and he got like 8 to 20 years.
Oh wow!
In the Michigan Department of Corrections.
And so you brought the case. I'm assuming you brought a civil case for damages for the guys who were beat up.
Yes, we sued the hotel for negligence.
Because you can't get. I'm assuming this guy, you weren't going to collect anything from the guy who
can't get blood out of a rock.
Yeah, that's part of the unfortunate facts of some of what we do is, like that guy, you can't sue people that don't have anything because it's you'll be a waste of time and
waste of effort, waste of
the court system, waste of everything. It's unfortunate. But the hotel, they were negligent. It sounds like, right? Like when I check in a hotel with my family, I don't expect it to be Fort Knox, but I sure don't want them giving a key to my room to some random who could come in and rob me.
The basic elements of a hotel room is to have a secure place you can put your head down and sleep and not worried about someone just walking in unannounced.
Yeah.
And what they did was they gave this guy a key card. They programmed the key card to the room, and he got into the room, and they got in and surprised these guys, and they got him. Now, it's wild. It's wild as it is. It gets wilder. The clerk testifies that he didn't give him a working key card to this room. We're like, what do you mean?
Well, why would he give him a key? Oh, he gave him
he gave him a fake key, he said.
Oh, why would he do that?
He said because he felt uneasy about this guy and he wasn't sure. So he figured he'd go up there, the key wouldn't work, and he'd have to come back down or knock on the door, wake up the guys.
That sounds like a load of BS, right?
Then he testifies he programmed the key to another room. And I asked him, what room did you program? Oh, he don't know. So basically, you didn't program it to these guys' room. You programmed it to some other
room. Oh my God. That's what happens, right? When you start lying and you start making stuff up, it's almost worse, right?
Yes. And then when the cops asked him why he never told them that he gave this guy a key card, they said they never asked him.
Give me a break. So there was a cover-up going on.
This guy was trying to cover his tracks.
Did he get fired from the hotel or no?
He's the man. He's not the manager, but he's the night clerk. He's been there for he's been there longer than the manager was.
Oh my God!
And he lives at the hotel.
So he never got fired. So what happened? So you took it to trial. Where was this, in federal court?
This was in federal court. We had diversity jurisdiction because the clients were from New Jersey.
Okay, so just so our listeners know, normally a case like this would go to state court, right?
Yes.
But because what you said, diversity jurisdiction, because there was people from different states involved, under certain conditions, it can actually go into federal court.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened? Did you get a verdict?
We went all the way through trial, and we got a verdict. And the guy, the owner of the truck, the semi truck, he basically got robbed at trial.
So he got robbed at the hotel. Now he got robbed at trial.
And it's currently on appeal. They appealed and we appealed. So 2 cross appeals.
Well, what happened at trial? Why did he
trial,
get robbed?
We got a verdict of just under $400,000 for both guys. And the helper that got beat up and robbed at gun and said, oh, this ain't going down like last time. This guy was freaking out. He got tied up. The jury awarded him approximately $235,000. And the other guy who got beat up and blood cut from his head, pistol whipped on the top of his head, he ended up with $29,000.
How does that happen?
So the jury assessed 100% of negligence to the clerk on the helper. And so he got $235,000.
Okay.
The driver, the owner of the company, they assessed him 80% at fault. And the only thing we could figure out is because he hired this guy.
Okay, I think the judge screwed that up because you're telling me that they found that the guy who got beat up was at fault for his own beating?
That's how the jury justified it.
Yeah,
and that's why we're appealing.
Yeah, I don't think that they should have ever even been allowed to say that. I mean, you can't be. Look, we have cases as lawyers where, 2 people, maybe the plaintiff makes a mistake, and the jury can say they're partially at fault, like a slip and fall case. Like you should have watched where you were going, or, even an auto accident. All the time we have these. But come on. You're at fault for some dude breaking into your hotel room in the middle of the night and beating you up?
So the defense, the whole defense of the case was he hired a guy without a driver's license, had a criminal background, and never done a background check on him. And because this guy, because he hired him without properly vetting him, that's what they argued. And the jury said he was 80% at fault.
I think that's ridiculous.
It is.
You can't be. You're not for somebody beating you up. This reminds me. I'll tell you my hotel story, and it's involving with a case, but this reminds me of my hotel story. So sometimes when I do these cases, I do cases all over the country. I do cases all over the state of Michigan, and sometimes when I go to a out jurisdiction, we'll have to stay at hotels for quite some time, and you get to, know the city, know the people, know the communities. So I was trying a case up in Flint. It was a 5-week trial, right? And it was way too far for me to commute from Detroit area to Flint every day before and after trial with traffic and everything. It's just too much. And when you're in trial, it's like, you're going, man. You need every minute of every day.
You got to stay in the zone. No distractions.
You got to stay. So we stayed by the Bishop Airport in Flint at I forget, it was like the Best Western-ish or something like that. It was fine, but it sounds a little bit like the hotel that you're describing. And my jury consultant gets up there on day 2, right? Because this is a big case. We ended up getting a verdict of over $11 million in this case. And my jury consultant gets there, and I got him a room. They give us the key to the room, and I grab his name's Steve Nat. He's a great guy. If you've heard of him, he helped, did the Kevorkian case with Jeffrey Feiger. He wrote a book. He's a great dude. I bring him in on all my trials. So I'm walking Steve to his room. I got all of his luggage and stuff. We get to his room. When you get to your hotel room, you just go right in, right? I mean, you put the key in and you're thinking you're going to go in. So we open up the door, we walk in. There's a dude in Steve's hotel room laying on the bed in basketball shorts. His shorts are down around his ankle. Okay, you can imagine what we saw him doing on the bed. He was having some fun with himself. And he was probably as shocked to see us as we were to see him. And we're like, oh my God, and he pulls his basketball shorts up. I throw the door shut, and they had given us the key to this dude's room. And this dude thought he was just going to be having some fun with himself, in his own room, which he can do, that. But they gave us the key to this guy's room. But that can be dangerous, right? I was thinking What if this guy had a gun or something and somebody barges in his room during this?
Or the other way around, it was a petite female, and you get in the room and you think, and you're a criminal.
Oh, yeah.
They don't do background checks when you check out a hotel room.
Right.
And it's like, not only do you put the people walking into the room wrongly at danger, you got the person inside's put at danger.
Everybody's at danger. I mean, if this guy could have thought we were breaking in and shot us, and he would have had a good self-defense argument,
Yeah.
So, but it's crazy. We went back to the clerk and said, like, dude, there's a guy in the room. And they're like, oh, we're sorry, we gave you the wrong room. But, you would think that there'd be like a little better system or something. And I don't know. I don't know how that exactly all works. I've never worked at a hotel, but
in this hotel case, I learned that, when they pull up the monitor, they got different colors for the rooms. Green is ready. Red means it needs to be cleaned up. Orange is they checked out and it's, waiting over here for service or something. And so they have systems in play. They got computer systems to not do that.
Yeah. I've had a lot of cases involving hotels because crazy stuff does happen at hotels. I mean, it's people are drinking or, they're on vacation. And you have a bunch of people in a small area, right? One of the cases that comes to mind that was crazy is I represented this little autistic boy who was at a hotel in Dearborn. I forget the name. It used to be called the Henry, I think.
Okay.
It changed hands.
Changed a couple of times. Pretty big hotel, and they had a big pool. And so this little autistic boy's auntie, rented out like a bunch of rooms, and they were having like a big party there, right? So everybody could stay and use the pool and stuff. And they're drinking. I think they were smoking some weed, whatever. And they're not paying attention in the pool. And so, it's a big pool. It has a hot tub and people are in and out of the hot tub. Well, this little autistic boy who has trouble speaking and vocalizing and yelling for help, goes under and starts drowning. Now, the worst part of it is, so first of all, there's not adequate lighting at the pool. We went and looked. A lot of the lights were burnt out because they just weren't upkeeping. They didn't want to put money in, right? It had been changing hands. They were cutting corners. So it was really dark. So that was a problem. But the worst thing is there's a security guard watching this whole party in a security booth on a camera. Right? And he has a joystick and he can actually move the camera to the left and the right and zoom in and zoom out. It's like a little remote control camera. And the dude is watching this little boy drown. He's following him with a joystick?
Following him with the joystick. It shows him like zoom in on the hot tub, zoom in on these people drinking some beers. Then it shows him like zoom in on this little boy drowning. And he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't call for help. He doesn't get out of the booth. The little boy drowned to death. And it was so sad and tragic and preventable. Now, certainly, look, the auntie, the family, they should have paid better attention. No doubt about it. But why in the world is a security guard at a hotel watching a little boy drown to death in front of him and not doing anything about it? No. So we sued the hotel as well. And, it's just crazy. It's crazy. But there's a lot of negligence out there on these hotels, I think.
Yeah. I get calls for hotel cases all the time, and I've this is the first hotel that I sued, but all these other cases, damages are kind of small and not really anything happened,
Yeah.
And so they're great liability cases, but there's no money involved in them.
Yeah.
You got to have the big liability and the big damages.
That's what I always tell my clients, right? If you have a case, it takes two, right? Number one, liability. Did somebody do something wrong? And number two, is there damages there? Because otherwise you need both for a case, right? Somebody can rear end you on the highway, but they just tap you. Yeah, sure, they did something wrong, but that's not a case, right?
Right.
But, I've seen a lot of stuff with hotels. CO2 poisoning, fires. I had a case, some dude got electrocuted because the wiring was off. He went to plug something in and got electrocuted. There was a crazy case at Feiger's office with my buddy Todd Wegelars, who there was a hotel in Jamaica, okay, but they booked it through America. They go over to this hotel. they don't tell them these people at the hotel had been sexually assaulting women. So these employees of this hotel resort had raped women at the hotel. They didn't tell them when they booked the trip. They didn't say, warning. They didn't do anything. And it's like a different world over there, right? So they these two girls book the trip through like the travel agency. They go to the hotel and they're sexually assaulted by these employees of the hotel. And horrible. I mean, can you imagine you're going on vacation and this is what happens? But good luck trying to bring a case in Jamaica, man. It's it's not easy. Even in America, a lot of times when you have these cases, the hotel will say, like, if something like that happens, this is horrible, but it's not our problem. Even though it's their own employee, they're saying, we're not responsible for what our employee did. But there's a lot of hotel cases.
So I got a case similar right now where they not a hotel but a business. My client walks into a business and he wants to buy some beer, and he's got $2 worth of bottles to return. This is in Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay. And the employee says, we don't take bottles till 10 o'clock. He's like, okay, well then I'm going to pay cash and I'll turn my bottles in later. The manager behind the glass bulletproof says, what, he's a white guy telling a black guy, calling him boy. My client's like 65 years old. Say, boy, what are you doing? You are, boy, get out of here, boy. Didn't you hear what he said? We ain't taking your bottles. He's like, I got money to pay. The hotel clerk pulls out a gun and points it at his head through the bulletproof glass and says, no, I think you need to leave now.
Oh my gosh.
And so we filed suit, and they're trying to claim that the hotel is not, the business, the liquor store is not liable for the employee's criminal acts. But if it's in furtherance of the business, they're liable.
Yeah.
Sexual assault is not in furtherance of anybody's business. So
no, you're
have
right.
it out.
You're right. They have it out. But, you still gotta, these businesses, like I run a law firm. If my front desk person is sexually harassing clients and I don't do anything about it, that's, I got responsibilities, right?
Yeah.
So, they should be vetting these people and doing, I was playing pickleball with Rich Karen, who's works for Conifer Insurance, and I love the guy. He never pays any money. Conifer is so damn cheap. I tell Rich that to his face. But he's got a crazy case now where it's similar to what you're saying. It's at a like liquor store or something in Detroit, which all kinds of crazy. You want to talk about cases gone wild, man. Liquor stores in anywhere, there are some crazy cases. But in this case, this kid was getting robbed outside. He ran in for help, comes in, and the owner of the store was in the back, and the owner's wife was at the counter, right?
And they got bulletproof?
So they got, yep. So the kid runs in, says like, help, they're robbing me. The wife is like, come back. So the kid jumps the counter to hide so they can call the police. The owner comes out, didn't understand what was going on, and just shot this kid and killed him. This poor kid who's just trying to run away, and they said, yeah, come back here.
Victimizing the victim.
The owner didn't. You can't just start shooting people. You should, shooting little kids.
Right.
But there's crazy cases, man, that come out of some of these situations that you just almost can't believe it. Have you ever had any other hotel or apartment cases?
This was the first one that I brought suit. A lot of calls for hotel cases. They want to sue the hotel for things, but nothing with big enough damages to want to sink my teeth into.
All right, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one more crazy case story. I got one in an apartment complex, and it's really hard in Michigan to sue an apartment complex for just about anything, but one especially for negligent security, right? So in other states, like, they got to do stuff to keep people safe, right? And if they're going to provide security, they got to make sure they do their job and things like that. Michigan, no. Our Supreme Court 10 years ago, the Angler Court said, you don't have to do anything. The only thing you have to do is call the police. But I had a case that we took that was one of the most horrible cases I have ever seen. This guy was literally standing in they were in like a Section 8 housing in Detroit. It was like a lower income housing, development. And it was managed poorly. It was, they run down. They didn't give two craps. They just wanted to make the money. So my guy's just literally, and this is on video, my guy is literally walking to his apartment. There's a dude standing in the hall who also lives there without warning, without saying anything to my client, without anything else. The guy takes out a knife and stabs the guy about 30 times for no reason.
No provocation.
No provocation, no beef, no fights, no words. And my guy's in shock, and you can literally see him on the video. He starts bleeding. There's blood on the wall. I mean, dude, it was like out of a horror movie. It was like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing on video. And so we sued the apartment complex. The guy ended up, I think he was like found innocent by reason of insanity.
Not guilty.
Not
but
guilty.
Mentally ill.
No.
Insanity.
He was just not guilty, but mentally ill. He was, not guilty by reason of insanity or whatever it is, whatever the technical term is. So we found out this dude had stabbed like 2 other people in the apartment complex in like the month before this happened.
Same apartment complex, same everything.
Same everything.
Oh, man.
And they didn't do anything about it. They didn't send out a notice to the residents. They didn't evict the guy. The police had been there and had literally like been there for a stabbing. And so go figure. I mean, this was preventable. We settled the case. We settled the case, not for as much as we want, because the liability against them in Michigan is so hard. And hopefully our Supreme Court and the laws will change a little bit on this, because if you're going to let a guy run around stabbing people in your apartment community, you got to do something. You got to do something. I don't know what, but you got to do something. Evict, send out a notice. We got Jack the Stabber over here. Watch out for him. I don't know. But I would think you should do something.
Yeah. I had a client consult. It was a homeowners association, and they had security gate at the front, and the guy drove around the security gate, and he shot at the client I was consulting with. Shot up her house from the outside.
Oh my gosh!
And there was, she wasn't injured. She didn't bleed. This a lot of trauma, and she got to me, and I'm looking at it. And it was just outside the statute of limitations. It was too late. This was about 5-6 years ago. And you just remind me of that, where the security gate at the front, she consulted with a bunch of different lawyers, and they didn't want to take it. She had low damages. But post-traumatic stress disorder is good damages. It's real,
man.
It's really good
It's
damages.
real.
And she got to me just a little bit too late. But I thought that would have been a good case against this homeowners association. They just, the security guard didn't call the police or anything. This guy drives around the gate, and then, shoots up the apartment. You would have called the police. They would have been en route. They would have slowed something down.
Yeah.
But they didn't do anything, and the guy got away.
And in Michigan, as at least the way the law is right now, at a minimum, there is a duty to call the police. So, if you're a business owner, apartment owner, whatever, and something really bad happens, even if it's like a criminal thing, you got to at least call the police.
Yeah.
You may not have to get involved yourself, but you got to call the police, and you can be held liable. I know Dave Christensen's office, I think, just got a $9 million verdict out in Washtenaw County against a gas station where some dude got stabbed to death, and they never called the police. So, I mean, you got to do something. But we see this a lot, with bars and all kind of crazy cases that we can talk about. But I don't think we have too much more time left today. Issa, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting me. It was a good time. Always good time hanging out with you, John.
Yeah, interesting stories. I hope you win your appeal on the hotel case. I know the Sixth Circuit is a tough place to be for some of us
in
plaintiffs
2 weeks.
lawyers.
Oral arguments in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, you have fun in Cincinnati. Did you get your panel yet?
You know what? I think it's out, and I got to look it up.
You send it to me. I'll let you know what your chances are. All right.
You got it, my friend.
All right. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks, Issa. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. This is episode 2 of Cases Gone Wild, brought to you by Marco Law. I hope that you enjoy some of these cases as much as I do and we do, because you can't make this stuff up. These are cases gone wild. If you or someone you know needs help or needs a lawyer, please feel free to contact my office. You can go to marcolaw.com. That's MARKO law.com, or give us a call, 313-777-7LAW. Until next time, we'll see you on Cases Gone Wild.